Rebellion 2026. And I'm confused about is this their biggest show of the year? Because first I thought it was Bound for Glory. I mean, when I was a kid, when I was like younger, coming up in the world of TNA, Bound for Glory was like their biggest show of the year. Now it seems like it was Slammiversary at one point. And then now the way they're talking about Rebellion, I'm like, is Rebellion their biggest show of the year? I'm confused. But TNA Rebellion 2026, and it's the Icon going over some wrestling for some TNA. And before we get started, hit that notification bell, like and or subscribe. Check out my other wrestling reviews, for both WWE, TNA, NXT alike. And let's get started, because we got a pre-show match. I love some pre-show matches. Though it was Ryan Nemeth versus BDE. And it was, it's crazy because I keep forgetting BDE has not won a champion. He has not won a single match in TNA wrestling. That's why that's a little wild. But I mean, he's a rookie, so he's being portrayed as a rookie, but he's still being put in like high quality matches. He went up against Ryan Nemeth, who's basically like the Santino Marella of TNA, or he's like the Danhausen of TNA. But he actually won this match, so they have a little bit more faith in him than they do in BDE apparently. And I mean, there wasn't a lot to it. Daria Ray, she was doing commentary for the pre-show. I can't stand her, which means I guess she's doing her job. She's doing her job correctly. She was annoyed as hell as always, and she said that she booked the entire card, and she said she suspended Santino Marella because he went into the women's locker room. But I'm like, didn't Stax go into the women's locker room? So her logic doesn't make sense. I can't wait for her. It's like, are you getting in the ring or not? Like that's all I care about at this point. But but so far, like I said, the count off was good. WWE can learn a lot from TNA as far as the pre-shows are concerned, because there are so many people being left off of WrestleMania, and I don't understand that because you have a 3-hour pre-show. So let's kick off a little TNA. I was about to say Genesis. A little TNA Rebellion as we start the opening match. So the first match was the X Division Championship match. Leon Slater versus Cedric Alexander, Prime Alexander. And I like Alexander. He gained a little weight though. I'm not gonna lie. I remember when he was the Cruiserweight champion and he was putting on banger after banger. Him versus Leo Rush is probably still like the best match he ever had. I remember when him and Ali had a pre-show match for the Cruiserweight championship at WrestleMania. We need to bring back pre-show matches for WrestleMania. But this match was really good. He hit a brain buster, the turnbuckle brain buster on Leon Slater, and then that lumbar check, that shit still hurts. Like that lumbar check is still pretty gangster too, and it was a good showing for Slater. I love the fact that he chose TNA instead of AEW, because I feel like in TNA he can really showcase his talents and he is a part of the system. But there was a moment during the end of the match where he went outside, where he had Leon Slater was basically down. And then Cedric went outside, he grabbed the X Division Championship. And when he grabbed the championship, I don't know what he's planning on. The referee was standing right there. But as soon as he got in the ring, Leon Slater grabbed him, he dropped the belt, and then Leon Slater hit a Styles Clash on Cedric on top of the championship. And then he did the Swanton 360 to pick up the 1-2-3 victory. And I'm sorry, because this was a great match. I don't want to say up until the ending, but it was a great. I feel like Slater should have got disqualified, because although he wasn't the one who introduced the belt into the match, he still used it as, like, he shouldn't have been allowed to hit a Styles Clash on him with the referee like standing right there and looking at it. The referee should have said something about that, and like that shouldn't have counted. Like, Slater should not have, he should have got disqualified, but he retained the X Division Championship. I mean, which means he's going to break the record now, the Austin Aries record. So kudos to him. But a little bit of controversy in that, so I wouldn't be surprised if we don't go back to this match, which I'll be perfectly fine with. But Leon Slater, he's still the X Division Champion, and that's how we kick off Rebellion. For our next matchup, which I guess was Rebellion worthy, Frankie Kazarian versus Elijah. And I guess it was hardcore, no DQ, because the guitar was all over this shit. The guitar played more of a part into this match than the two wrestlers actually did. But there was a moment where, because he shattered the guitar. Kazarian and Elijah, they both fucked up the guitar, something fierce. And then when the referee finally decided to remove it from from the equation, Frankie Kazarian kicked Elijah in the nuts, got the roll up. and got the 1-2-3 victory. So Frankie Kazarian, who not too long ago was TNA World Heavyweight Champion, is now wrestling Elijah on the second the second match from the beginning on the biggest show of the year. So I mean, it's good for Elijah because at least he got some shine. But it's like, but we know like Frank Kazarian's not gonna lose to no Elijah, so like ain't nobody worried about that. But yeah, I mean, I guess the feud between them now is officially over, and we'll see what both people do. Maybe Kazarian gets himself back into the title picture. Maybe he'll fight Ricky Sosa after he gets done with Eric Young. We shall see. Next up, we spice it up with a little one-on-one action. Agent Zero from Order 4 versus Moose with Alicia Edwards at ringside. And it's crazy because Agent Zero is actually a big guy. Like, he's a very big guy. But compared to Moose, he looks like Edge. He actually looks like Big Cass, but he looks small compared to Moose, which is wild because he's a big boy. When the match started, Alicia Edwards, who's still Moose's manager, which is weird. I'm still waiting for her to turn on him. Agent Zero jumped over the top rope to try to get an advantage on Moose. Moose pushed Alicia out of the way. And then, she kind of like hurt herself. She was wearing boots and then she took her boots off. Later on in the match, when the two of them, like, Moose almost messed up a table spear, because I guess when he impacted with Agent Zero didn't move, so there was no momentum to take Moose through the rope, so his back feet hit the top rope, and then he almost, they almost fucked that up, but it worked, like, they saved it. But during the match, when Moose was getting the upper hand, the rest of Order 4, the Great Hands, they showed up. One of them grabbed Alicia Edwards. They were up on the apron. And then when Moose kicked the guy, because the guy had her by the hair. When Moose kicked him off the apron, Alicia went with him. And then when she landed on the floor, I guess she twisted her ankle. And then once she twisted her ankle, Moose picked her up and then went to carry her to the back. And I'm like, bro, like, you're in the middle of a match. Like, even she was telling him, she was like, go back to the ring. But he was like, no, you're hurt. So when he was trying to go to the aisle to bring her to the back to get medical attention, then Agent Zero came out of nowhere, kicked him in the face, got him in the ring, hit him with his choke slam, powerbomb. And then Agent Zero beat Moose. And I was just like, shit. He kind of took a detour from the system thing. Like, he went through all members of the system, and then he was supposed to fight Eddie Edwards, and then that match got, interrupted because Eddie Edwards, he fucked it up before the match even got started. But there was a contract out that Order 4 and the system had put out. So I guess we're going to slightly detour to fulfill that contract, which I guess he did fulfill the contract. And then now he's going to go back to Eddie Edwards, I guess. But Alicia Edwards, she fucked up in the game. Moose lost. I feel like her being his manager is hurting him more than it's helping him. And I feel like she's still going to betray him at some point. There was even a moment where she went to go talk to Mike Santana because her husband, Eddie Edwards, is fighting Mike Santana for the title. And then she told Eddie, she told Mike Santana, she was like, yo, we need to talk about Eddie. So I'm like, she's basically doing everything she can to go against her husband here. But I don't know if this is like a real thing or is she just playing everybody and she's secretly on his side. But I mean, I guess we'll see when the main event comes. But unfortunately, Moose took the L here. Agent Zero picks up a big victory for his career, and we're moving on. Next up, we had the Elegance brand versus Taryn Terrell, ODB, and Mickie James. And Ash by Elegance damn near popped her vocal cords in the beginning of this match. She hadn't been on television leading up to this. I know she was injured before, and then it was supposed to be a career-ending injury, and then I guess she bounced back. So whatever it is, I mean, it's good enough to where she can compete, but not all the time, which is probably why she hasn't been around. But it was nice to see her here. And I'm going to be honest with you, I was a little disappointed in this match, not because it was a street fight, like a cowboy street fight or whatever. I was actually looking forward to a normal six-woman tag. Because I watched TNA in the era where Taryn Terrell did the Dollhouse, when Mickie James was there, when ODB was there. So I just wanted to see them wrestle. Like, I just wanted to see a six-man tag and a nice wrestler. I didn't want, like, the hardcore shit. Then they had, like, lollipops and all this weird stuff. And then, the Elegance men got involved. And it was just a clusterfuck. But it's not really what I wanted to see from them. Like, I actually wanted a wrestling match. Because all the males did get involved, there was a point where Mr. Elegance was, was messing with ODB. And then she put the clamps on his nuts. And she was about to bust his walnuts wide open. And then Ash sprayed her in the face with hairspray. And then all three Elegance girls pinned ODB. And I'm just like, like y'all did all this hardcore shit and y'all lost anyway. So like that was it was a letdown too because they didn't win. You know what I'm saying? Like I wanted to see the three of them, pick up a victory in a 6-woman tag, and they didn't even win. So I mean, maybe this isn't. Hopefully, this isn't over. Maybe this isn't over. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, it was the garbage match. Like it's supposed to be like the fun match of the night with the garbage wrestling and everything. But it's cool. I mean, at least the three of them got to be on the show. So we'll move on to the next one. Then we had Nick Nemeth versus AJ Francis. And AJ Francis actually kicked out of a lot like in this match. I don't know if they're like getting him primed for a championship run of some kind. Is he going to be the person to beat Leon Slater? But they're making him. I mean, he's a big man, so he should be unstoppable to a degree. But he kicked out of a lot of shit. and then it's like Nick Nemeth, because AJ Francis was the one that attacked Nick Nemeth. Is Nick Nemeth a face now? Like, because he was a heel with his brother. His brother's still doing heel shit. But it's like, is Nick Nemeth a face now? So is he going to cash in? His trophy as a baby face. I don't know. It's an interesting dynamic. And then Nick Nemeth had some old guy with him who I don't know who that guy was. And then during the match, Sammy Navarro, who used to be part of Top Flight or First Class, he came in, interfered. Nick Nemeth had to hit him with a chair and like 5 supers to put AJ Francis away. I mean, it was a little weird. Like the match was a little weird. It was a good match, and then like the hokiness got started towards the end, but it was a good showing for AJ Francis, and Nick Nemeth can still call his shot. So we'll see if he calls his shot before this pay-per-view is over. But yeah, it's a good match. Can't really complain. So then we had the TNA Knockouts Women's Championship, Ying Lang Lee versus Ariana Grace. And though Ariana Grace has improved both as an in-ring performer and a character, she should not be lasting that long with no Lang Lee. She should have dropped her ass. During the match, Stax got himself kicked out because he was blatantly cheating, and then Xia Brookside told the referee about his cheating, and then the referee threw him out. Later on, when Ling Lang Lee hit the Warrior's Way, and she was about to get the 1-2-3, Xia Brookside then took Ariana Grace's foot and put it on the bottom rope. And then that's when it dawned on me, Xia Brookside is a legacy wrestler. Because there's the group, the group with like all the second, third generations, a birthright. Like, so, yeah. So technically, Xia Brookside joining Birthright makes perfect sense because she's also a legacy character. And then she turned on Lang Lee, she beat her ass, and then Ariana Grace, hit a Shining Wizard, and then she got the 1-2-3 and retained the championship. And like they said on commentary, if Ariana can't cheat, Ariana can't win. But having Xia Brookside in the Birthright is actually pretty cool, and I like the TNA NXT like cross branding here. So I hope that means we'll see Xia Brookside on NXT with the group, because she should actually hang out with them now. She should be a part of the group now because again, she's a legacy character. Like she's she's a second generation legacy wrestler. So it looks like Ariana Grace is going to have this belt for a while. So we'll see what happens. Poor Lang Lee, but I know she'll be back strong. Indy Hartwell, she's still in the mix as well. So we'll see what happens on Thursday, that Impact. But definitely a good showing. Like I said, good showing. And I didn't really see the heel turn coming. But then when it happened, then suddenly it made perfect sense to me. So I said kudos to everyone involved in this one. It was a good match. So EY, Eric Young showed up. My boy EY. ODB's going into the Hall of Fame. And Eric Young basically called out the returning EC3. Trouble. And I'm going to say this real quick. What does TNA have against Cleveland? The entire night, the wrestlers, the baby faces, the heels, even Tom, the announcer, everybody shitted on Cleveland the whole show. Like, I understand making fun of the hometown, just to get that hometown heat, but it was like everybody, what I'm saying? Like every single person, every single match, everybody that touched a microphone had something bad to say about Cleveland. And it was so bad to the point where I was like, well, shit, if y'all hate Cleveland that bad, why the hell did you do the pay-per-view in Cleveland to begin with? Because, I'm not even a Cleveland fan or anything as far as sports concerned, but even I felt bad. I was like, yo, the Cleveland shade is is real. But EC3 came in, he spoke to, Eric Young. They got into a little bit. He still looks good. He still looks the same. And then he challenged him to a match at Thursday Night Impact. So they're going to have a match with Eric Young versus Mr. Trouble, Trouble, Trouble. And it's good to see him back in a TNA wrestling ring. Then, surprisingly, Trey Miguel versus Mustafa Ali. Mustafa beat him for the international championship. This is for the international championship. And, they said, Order 4 was involved. Like they were there. Trey Miguel was basically out there himself. They shitted on my girl. Was it Jada Silver, Jada Stone? But you can't really say Ali's always good. Trey Miguel's always good. Like the two of them always put on a great match. So there's definitely no complaint about that on their behalf. I said I enjoyed this one. I hope the feud continues. Like I hope Trey Miguel asks for his rematch and they get to go at it again. And this ends up being some back and forth. I hope it's just not a thing where now that he won, like we never see Trey Miguel fight for this shit again. But and it's about time. Like because I even said in my last TNA review that they need to do something with Mustafa Ali. So it was nice that they finally put a belt on him. So now let's see what he can do with it. He's an international superstar and now he's the international championship. He's the international champion. So this is gonna be pretty wild to see like where they take it. But I'm looking forward to it and I'm looking to see where the ride takes us. So after that was some more of Rosemary's backstage buffoonery. And Victoria Crawford's actually perfect in this role because she's in hell running around screaming. Tessa Blanchard's makeup was surprisingly gorgeous. And she just has this look on her face whereas like Victoria Crawford is running around scared out of her mind, Tessa just looks disgusted by the fact that she's even down there. I don't know where my girl Maura Sade was, but when it got to the whole thing with Abyss and his weird dad, that shit went on for way too long. And I'm like, I didn't need all that. Like I really didn't need all that. But I don't even know where this is going. I guess Rosemary doesn't wrestle anymore now. She just does backstage spooky shit, and it's over. More to continue because they're all still trapped in hell. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, moving right along. The next match was the tag team match between the System and the Hardy Boys. So it took long enough, but the Hardys finally lost the TNA Tag Team Championships. And there wasn't even really any shenanigans. It was a straight up match, although both the Hardys were battered and bloody till no end. They couldn't sustain, the vigorous blows from the System. And the Righteous didn't really play a part in this either, aside from doing the physical damage. But yeah, it's over for the Hardys. And obviously they couldn't be the tag team champions forever. And for a long time, it was looking like they were really the only tag team in TNA. So to see the belts going to somebody else is fine, because maybe now we can get an actual tag team division going and get a tag team division started. But aside from licking their wounds and healing a little bit, I like to see where Matt and Jeff go from here. But they, I said they didn't win this one, and the System is your new TNA World Tag Team Champions. And the last match was for the TNA Heavyweight Championship. Eddie Edwards versus Mike Santana. And I'm sorry, but I knew she was going to betray Moose. We knew. I called it. I said in the last pay-per-view, I said it's only a matter of time before she turns on Moose. We all knew Alicia Edwards was going to turn on Moose because that's her fucking husband. But I do like how they did it. It wasn't done in a way where she was Moose's manager, and while she was in his corner, she turned on him during a match and cost him the match. Because she got hurt earlier in the Moose match, she said that she had to be out there, for Eddie Edwards' match. Moose wanted to take her to the hospital, and then she was like, no, I'm not going anywhere. And then she was like, just leave me alone and go get me some more ice. So Moose gets up and he leaves to go get her some more ice. The cameraman followed Moose, and then the cameraman turned back around and filmed Alicia Edwards in the locker room, where she threw the ice to the side, called her husband, and said, hey, babe, we'll figure out how to get Cedric the X Division title. The boys got the tag titles, and now I'm gonna do what I can to help you get the title from Mike Santana. And Moose came out, because Alicia came out during the Mike Santana match, and then Moose came out and showed her the footage. So then Moose was basically just like, I got you, bitch. Like, you were deceiving me all along. Some fuckery happened. He picked up Alicia and like dragged her out of the arena. Cedric tried to come in on the sneak attack and it didn't work. Mike Santana spun the block a couple of times, and then he got the 1-2-3 victory and he defeated Eddie Edwards. So the System was only able to get their hands on one piece of championship gold, which they got from the Hardys. So the pay-per-view ends with Mike Santana standing tall once again, that was how Rebellion ended, and thank you for tuning in. So it was a long show, but it was a good show. It was a good show. It had a lot of action. There was no Mara Sade on the show. I mean, Elena Black was on the show, but she was only talking. So a couple of people that I was a fan of weren't here. She wasn't even involved in all the Rosemary foolishness, but she's still here. And we have a lot of questions. So this Thursday on Impact is going to be interesting. So it's definitely worth tuning in this Thursday to see like how everything unfolds, whether it's with, the Xia Brookside situation, the Moose situation, the championship title picture, the Nick Nemeth stuff, and everything in between. But I look forward to watching it. And then, for the next TNA pay-per-view, we're going to review that as well because they mapped out their whole calendar like from here to the end. So we'll see what happens right here in Red Eyes Entertainment. So check out my other videos because WrestleMania is coming up this weekend. So we're going to do 2 nights of WrestleMania for you guys. And I'm going to have episode 5 of Daredevil Born Again for all you Marvel fans up there. So keep it locked right here on Red Eyes Entertainment and we'll give you more of what you need. So that was it, guys. So thanks for tuning in. So signing off for Rebellion 2026. It's a new era now for TNA Wrestling. And until we can catch it up on the next pay-per-view, we're out this bitch.